Welcome to Cathy's Quantum Energy Group Zoom call for January 26, 2023. This is a Zoom call recording of Cathy's Quantum Energy Group demonstration call of the quantum software. If you would like to participate, click on the Zoom link, which is right here. Cathy's Quantum Energy Group Zoom calls are on Mondays and Thursdays at 10:30 sharp Eastern Time, unless otherwise stated on her website. Let's enter the Zoom call. The call will be live. You may want to lower the volume on your speakers. One moment, please.
It is 10:30, so we can get started. And I'll show you, we've really been cranking on this thing. And I did get a post up this week, and there's a screencast of where we were at that time. Interestingly enough, I tried to do a second screencast, and it wouldn't download, so it wasn't meant to be, I guess. So you have one if you look at the site on the current blog. I'm trying to get a few more posts up with some screencasts. But anyway, here's where we are. And we did stop. We came up with our little congratulations. But you see, we're not done. Anytime you still got all this information here, there's still some stress management to do. So what I've been doing, some thoughts here, I have been checking, okay, we wanted the complete extermination cocktail in the B2, so I did that. You see the 78% benefit. And then I'm not done with this remarkable healing scan, so I haven't really sent it out. But I will check to see if and the same thing with individuals, if we want that. See, and we'll take it. So let's go in here. And this, we all know this drill, that this is just subtle energy. But that's the whole deal, is subtle energy. We did the healing scan for us, and then the general options scanned. And this comes up with all sorts of things, which is, to me, that, okay, we can do without that today. Let's check that 5D scan. That is another work in progress. No, don't need it. So let's just look real quickly. And again, you can entangle. You can watch something on YouTube, etc., etc. So when you look at these things, you keep that in mind, that we're all one, and no telling what can happen. If it's in your field, it's throwing your field off, and the P4 usually is all you need to do. But this damp, let's just. And even I put negative, but the truth is every one of these things is a lesson. See, so look at that. We need to perhaps, let's just go into the Pro Tools. And we have some cocktails. Grandmaster has a good herbal cocktail. Let's see. I like to test everything to make sure it's a priority, because you can really send a person too much energy if you're not careful. Yeah, we'll take it. So let's go in here.
I thought we were always told that if your body didn't need what you were sending, it would just not take it.
Well, I agree, but I had an experience the other day where someone sent me, they meant well, but when I had whatever that was, weekend before last, on Saturday, they offered to work on me, and I never will turn it down. And shortly thereafter, I had to go to bed. I mean to tell you, I felt bad. 7 o'clock that night, I finally drugged myself out of bed. But during that time, she called and asked how I was. Was I better? And I said, no. And she said, I don't understand it. I've got 3 P4s and 3 B2s running on you. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. So that was a real lesson for me. I realized why, for example, when Grandmaster had some health issues, he said, don't work on me. Don't work on me. And I get it. So I'm going to change that you could perhaps send someone too much energy. And the way to just kind of take care of that might be to just check with your dowser. So, for example, we know that damp cocktail is something we would like. Let's just, we know we're coming to the end of the month, and we're going to be having a new startup scan. Let's just see, focus, if we want to make that somewhat of a focus, because this damp is certainly coming up quite a bit. Yeah, so we're going to really hone in on that in February. Of course, that's love month. Oh, I was going to. And then we want to also, let's talk life force. That looks respectable. We've been taking energy for the bladder quite a bit. There's the bladder meridian, and you remember that we carry, they say, even more so our emotions in our meridians, even more so than in the chakras, plus the chakras are pretty deep to reach. We want to pull any of that information up. No, we don't need to. We've got it under control. And this just is a matter of habit to double check this. No. Gallbladder is where typically, if there is such a thing as implants, etheric implants, that's where they say they are. Let's just check and make sure that, do we want the implant command? Yeah, we'll take it. So let's go in here. That gallbladder meridian is very often a little clue. And some of you are, familiar with what Raymond Grace says, and I feel the same way. He says, I don't really know if there is such a thing, but when I clear them, people do better. So that's kind of how I look at it. Anyway, so, and then you got, we're close. Let me see. Now we're close here. Let's see what we got. Still not it. I think it will take too much time to get to the bottom, but you want to, on your own time when you're not in a 30-minute call, go down here and just check the high points. See what it sums up into. We can find it quickly. We may not be able to. All right, I'm not gonna. Anyway, I got sidetracked. I had a wonderful experience in getting to see Karen Barnett over the weekend, and we ended up though in Safety Harbor, not so much St. Pete, and walked into a little bookstore. And I want to tell you about 2 books. One, Sharon had mentioned this Dr. Mark Circus, who wrote the book on pH. Well, I stumbled onto a book by him, Anti-Inflammatory Oxygen Therapy. And I'll put this in our notes. I will get these notes out today. And it's a phenomenal book, and I'm so glad I got it. And what he is saying, he's into the natural stuff, obviously. And what he is saying, that there is just about nothing you can't turn around if you will exercise 15 minutes a day while wearing an oxygen mask. And you can get certain oxygen masks without prescriptions. And then he recommends a rebounder or an exercise bike, and the book has all kinds of valid information. But the other book I got was on mastery. And I got to thinking, this is what it's all about. You come to the planet, and you come to the planet, many believe, I believe, with a special task, all of us. And it's funny because even though we basically come in with the same brains, we still have neuroplasticity and all of these things. And I know we have certain people that we look at as profound geniuses like Mozart. But what if we all come in with the same brain, which is a powerful processor of information, and somehow we don't ever process it to the point where we discover our gift, because on top of coming in with very special capabilities, each of us is also unique. We each have a special task. Each of us has something that we're here to do. So I ended up, instead of reading on my biogeometry, I made us a list of some of the things that come along in the search for mastery. And in a sense, that's what we're doing with the SRC. We're looking to master this, aren't we? We're doing the classes, etc. And so let's just see as a group where we are at this time. This would be the whole energy group, of course, not just the people on the call. And here's what we're saying. Activate intuitive power. This is one of the things that's a sign of mastery, is you develop very efficient intuition, and that includes being aware if anything is off environmentally. So that means if you have a day where the 5G is amped up or there's more chemtrails, you sense it, and then you can shield yourself. Power to affect the world in a positive way. And this is interesting. Apply unique perspectives to solve the critical problems. We look around at this planet and realize we all came in equipped for something we can do. This is an interesting one that was in the book. Regenerate the concept of mastery. Many people, they've just given up. They don't realize how powerful and unique they are. And instead of digging, because it is rather tedious, it talks about that in the book. You have a lot of things you have to do over and over and over and learn them and get through them. But now we're so bombarded with entertainment. And there have even been people in the quote New World Order, etc., that have said we don't have any problem taking control of these people. We just keep them entertained all the time. So many people, they don't even realize their power. So this came up for the group. Mastery is now downloaded in my nervous system and alive with energy and focus. These are the things, and we can just add these. We don't need to, go crazy. Just it's all subtle energy. And all we want today is the prayer warrior, which I will do, as you know, later, because I got all kinds of other names in there that I don't want to disclose. But we see now and just for the heck of it, because this has gone pretty fast today, Looking like we're pretty strong. I've got a few other scans. Shall we see if we want them? Anybody, you may have some objections. We'll just see what the priority. This is the America scan. Let's just see as a group if we want it. Yeah, we'll take it. Let's look at that. Okay, we're looking at the power of our words. And so it might not be a bad idea to stop talking about how screwed our country is. Those of us who worry about it. Look at this. Deprogram obedience, self-sacrificing. This is a very interesting one that we've come up with. Block the agenda of dumbing down the young. We're looking for innate introspection and divine inspiration. There is a depopulation agenda. It's been spoken of. It is documented that we have that agenda. We cannot be absorbed by the material. That's another very deep programming, is that it's all about the money. And we actually, as the unique beings we are, should be able to have all our needs met. It should happen, actually, unless we're going through a time where there's some lessons we need to learn. This emphasis, getting back, for example, to mastery. Many people never achieve mastery because they get caught up in some kind of high income job that just kind of takes everything away. I'm sorry that if I offend anybody, but this is in here and we scanned for it. End the corruption of the mass vaccination scheme. So apologies if you don't appreciate that. Open to the truth about public health officials. Anybody who spends any time out of the country for years at a time and comes back in does appear, the ones I've talked to appear to be shocked by how now we have little clinics on every corner and such a big emphasis and making big money for someone. Fill your heart with selfless love, and look at this one, eat real food. So hope I didn't offend anybody with that. Let's just, while we're at it, see if we want the vaccination scan. Well, it's close, but not necessarily. What we are wondering about, obviously nothing that you poke in your body, in your bloodstream, ideally we'd like to do without it, but there's a lot of good in much of the program that's out there for us. But has anybody else noticed that if they're non-vaccinated and they are with others who have been vaccinated, that their SRC scan picks up some stress? Has anybody noticed that?
No.
Yeah, I scan myself. Yeah, I scan myself every morning. It's just because I'm working with people all day and I want to be as clear as I can be. And it always comes as a surprise. I'm never thinking about it. But when I'm out with people, like to dinner, where you're sitting for a while, and if I'm sitting with people who've been vaccinated, the stress of it will show up in my field. And so I want you just to be aware.
That's the shedding?
That's what comes up in my field. And in all fairness, it's nothing that I am thinking about. It's always a surprise. But I had that happen again Saturday night. Went to dinner and sat next to someone. And she's, beautiful soul. She's had all her vaccines. I never gave it even a thought until my next morning when I scanned myself. And I had a lot of stress related to graphene oxide, or whatever that stuff is. And so, again, it's subtle. We're talking subtle. Wouldn't be anything you find in the body. It's in the subtle energy fields. And I just went ahead and gave myself this cocktail, which is in the P4. And so, it's just an awareness thing.
What do you use for the scan that you do every morning?
I have a long list. This has to be something everybody does their own personal list. I have an I am statement in there, which I really believe in the I am statements. I have certain affirmations. I have certain codes, and it's kind of like this is a bad example, but it's kind of like a compost. I just keep adding. And then I give myself a scan of the whole thing and see what jumps out.
What do you scan it with?
I go right in here to the find options. And just like I scan these other lists for us, I scan my own list too. And I really recommend that.
But how do you scan it? After you find the options and you find the list, what do you put the list through?
I put it, depending on how much time I have and how much I scan for, I just paste it all on a Word document and I go down the document and look at it.
And where does the judgment come from?
What judgment?
Of how well or not?
Oh, okay. I pull anything up that comes in under 1,000. That's what Grandmaster taught. That and actually you can get pretty carried away with that. You might want to only go up to about 300, but according to what we've been taught and what has been very effective, when you do your scan, for example, let me just find us a scan. Like
if you could show us how to do that.
So take your list. Let me just find another list in here. Okay, this is a good list. We did this last month. This is the Dr. Amen scan. Does that strike a chord? Anybody remember us talking about that?
Yes.
Yeah. And so that was a priority last month. It's not a priority this month so far. But go ahead and copy it. You can see I've got it copied. I'm doing this for a few individuals in the group. But go in here, hit your find options. And there we go. So this is Dr. Amen's products. And we see the top thing at this moment in time we want is the Neuralink powder, brain and body powder, omega-3, and no more omega. About 99% of Americans are deficient in their fatty acids. Brain and body power, serotonin mood support, smart mushrooms, and memory bundle. Now you have options here. The easiest thing in the whole world is just to go ahead and load it in, and the P4 will do what it needs to do. But you can also, and often, this is interesting, any of these lists that you scan that come up with all this stuff, it is amazing, absolutely amazing how a couple of run-throughs in the sustenance balancer will take care of it. So just a little nutrition. It doesn't take much for us. You might, if you have a basil plant, just throw a little basil in your scrambled eggs, that kind of thing. So very often, and of course this is already specifically supplements, but you can take, say, the Delvar rates or some of these things, and all this stuff comes up and you go, oh my goodness. Well, remember, we're in the middle of all this information. It's what we're processing, whether it be ours or anybody else's. And very often you can just send the nutrition through and it clears all of it. It's wild. So just improving, and I'm working on that certainly for myself, and that my eating habits are not the best, but I'm working on it, and especially with the herbs.
I want to back up for a second on the vaccine. Do you think maybe some of the stress that's showing up is psychological about the vaccine and not all physical?
Yeah, we could certainly be capable of that. It definitely, in my case, it's just that I wasn't expecting it, so I don't know what to tell you on that. But definitely, you can have look at all the people, story after story of people that were given placebos and had all the effects of the real thing.
Cathy, can you touch on the oxygen therapy? We have a ozone therapy in the P4. What's the difference?
Well, I haven't had time to really examine the book, but what the difference is, according to this author, is to just I don't know what the ozone therapy involves, but with this, you're literally wearing the oxygen mask. And as you exercise, which is going to make you breathe more deeply, I guess the oxygen is just hitting your system like nobody's business. Now, the lady that I worked with that found out she had stress related to an embolism, she had a 95% benefit of investigating this particular form of oxygen therapy. And I found a mask online. I'll send that link out when I send the general options scan, which I meant to send already. But
Thank you.
it is, to me, compelling. And I don't believe in doing anything personally unless I check resonance. So you could just check your resonance. For example, we'll just do the group. Anti-inflammatory oxygen therapy. I'm just going to put with rebounder and mask.
Cathy, where do you buy the oxygen?
I found, okay, so see, as a group, this is not that big of a deal. I will send a link. I had a heck of a time, and again, I have not yet had the time to really sit and read this book in detail. Somebody said, oh, you can make great protocols out of this. I said, we need to do the real thing too. And it's remember what Bill Nelson said that time. Somebody said, everything's energy. Can you just send us the energy of all of our supplements so we don't have to take them? And he said, I absolutely can. And while you're at it, go scuba diving without a tank and I'll send you oxygen. I never forgot that. So it seems to me, and especially this is the list on the cover of the book that oxygen treats: cancer, heart disease, wounds, strokes, poor circulation, autism, diabetes, nerve damage, asthma, skin ulcers, brain injury, AIDS, and multiple sclerosis. So, especially for both preventative, which is what I think the true value of all this is, but beyond that, if a person has a diagnosis, they might want to test, their own self, whether it be with their intuition or quantum software or a pendulum, and see. But the book, in fact, yesterday I did go ahead and buy all of his books. Sharon had brought up his book on what am I trying to say, baking soda. And I know you really have learned from that book, haven't you, Sharon? So,
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll put the name of this, but what I did also with, just a few clients, even this, because we're all spending a fortune on various things, I just put in purchase and read, and then I put the name of the book. And what the heck? And then the ones that had, yes, that's a positive, I just took a picture of the book. See, the group, as a group, not a big deal. But I'm sure there are individuals that would be interested.
Question.
Yeah.
Peter talked about something with regards to he was going to take an oxygen session or something. Peter, can you chime in? What would be the difference between what Cathy's talking about and what you're doing?
Okay, I'll show you. If you can see.
Yeah.
I have a cannula that I'm breathing right now.
Oh, wow.
And it's hydroxy gas.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hydrogen, it's 2/3 hydrogen and 1/3 oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
I have a machine next to me and it's producing this hydroxy gas. And Dr. Circus has a book called Hydrogen Medicine. But he promotes a machine that I found was inferior to the one I bought.
Wow! And how long a day? How long every day do you do this?
I tested that I should do it a half an hour twice a day.
That is. Can you send us the name of that
device?
Yeah.
I'll send you an email. I have it somewhere because I was big on these machines for a while. I still am, but I was when I first got it, I was telling everybody about it. Now it's like, okay, but glad to bring it up again. That's great.
And on the last video that you did, the Zoom call, I went and researched it and put it on the video as well.
So, okay. Okay, well, I guess that's it for today. Any thoughts?
All good stuff. Thank you.
Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Cathy.
Blessings
Thank you.
to all.
Bye, everybody.
God bless you.
Blessings to all.
This concludes Cathy's Quantum Energy Group Zoom call. We thank you for participating. We look forward to seeing you again. Until then, take care and be well.